Guys, this is the final episode of the Minnesota Twins franchise. Man, did we have a run. We are going to get through this as quickly as possible, but before we do that, we are going to get to talk to a man by the name of Beau Kemp, who dominated professional baseball for numbers of years in the Minnesota Twins organization. So hang tight and we will be talking to him shortly. I need to say this real quickly, guys. You have to go check out at the Wild Jeffrey on YouTube. If you like old school Madden and or NCAA football, you have to check out his site. He has the greatest old school Madden and NCAA football stuff I've seen. If you need anything editing wise, if you need your long videos cut short, if you need B-roll or videos attached to your voice or whatever it might be, go to at Gridiron Pictures. They are focused on producing football content, whether it be NFL commentary, football highlights, the newest Madden or NCAA football game, a football documentary, practice clips, or something completely different. Gridiron Pictures is the place to get all your football video editing needs met. And let me tell you, Gridiron Pictures, he's my editor too. And not only is he my editor, but he's the editor to guys like Bordeaux and others that I know that you guys would know. And even though I'm a small fish in a big pond, he makes me feel like a big fish. And if you want to be treated right and taken care of, please go to at Gridiron Pictures and at the Wild Jeffrey and subscribe. With that being said, let's get started. Hey, Beau, how are you?
Doing all right, Chris.
Great. Well, we'll go ahead and get started if you're okay with that. Like I said, I can edit, this type of conversation between you and me out. But I'll I'm already recording, so um,
Okay.
I'll go ahead and kind of introduce you if that's okay. And then I kind of did already, like in the right before you call me, but I'll do that again, just kind of briefly, and then I'll kind of get into the questions that I sent you. So I'll probably
Okay.
just go straight down, so that you're not caught off guard or anything, that you're ready for every question. And don't worry if you don't have stats for, certain things. I mean, you can even guesstimate, even for high school and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I think like 50% of my demographic is kids, like teenagers, but surprisingly the other 50% range from, anywhere from 25-year-olds to like 60-year-old men usually, so
Yeah.
it's not just like for kids, it's gonna cross a whole demographic of viewers. So uh
Okay.
feel free to add in anything that you want to add in. If I accidentally cut you off or something, you can always, stop me or add it in later or something like that, or whatever you're comfortable with. I want this to be kind of a celebration of like you and your career and everything. So
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah, you bet.
I
S
appreciate this.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure, man. I'm honored to know you, and it's it I appreciate everything you've done for my son, and just being just a good guy, man. You don't come off as a dude that just practically dominated at that level. I mean, if I dominated at that level, man, I may have a little bit more of an attitude, but you're just a very, very nice guy and easy to talk to, whether it's my wife or myself or my son, and that's a pretty rare quality. So I appreciate that.
Well,
But
sometimes I forget I play baseball. You know,
well,
it's
I'm here to
it
remind
seems
you,
like a
man.
while back.
I'm here to remind you because it's too good a stuff to be forgotten. And whether only your son like watches this or like his kids or whatever one day, when he has kids, I think it's important, man, for them to know about their about his dad and about their grandparents and their granddad and especially when you accomplished what you did, not only at the professional level but at at the high school level. I mean, I've had people tell me after I knew you, like just these stories like, oh yeah, Beau Kemp, like your name is said in reverence, like dudes that either faced you or former coaches that faced you or whether they were assistant coaches at the time or head coaches or uh, on the JV of some other school. So I
Yes.
mean, I think that's God gives us all different gifts, and man, He sure poured into you a lot. But I
Yeah.
will say that I have studied a lot of famous athletes, and generally there's a strong, very strong work ethic behind it, and it's not luck. It's not just I
Right.
just
Right.
I'm a talented dude and I just happen to get drafted and I happen to you know dominate at this level and then the next level and the next level. No, it's usually work that's put in that adds to that godly talent. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
That's right on.
but
But I will say this.
yeah,
You know, I do appreciate you recognizing the, you know, what it really was because, when people look at me or they see, that I didn't, get to the big leagues, um, but they knew how talented I was. They don't really know the full story, but maybe people in my home, like here in Tulsa, they knew, uh, about me, and they knew that I was capable, and I could, they knew who I was. People here know,
right,
but like if you don't see me in the big league, like some players can be, um, you know, not all the best players. I don't want to say all the best players don't get to the big leagues, or some players that get to the big leagues don't, might not be deserving or whatnot. But I do appreciate you understanding like the dominance that I did perform while I was
absolutely,
playing. Um, and then
absolutely,
we'll
man.
also get into why I did get into the big leagues too, because it was also on me too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Well, it's uh man, I'm always intrigued by um one of my I named my first son who I don't know if I've shared this story with you, but I prayed for my unborn children since I was 15 years old, man. And for some reason, my wife and I's firstborn child, who I named Maddox Charles, Maddox after Greg Maddox, and then Charles after my dad, uh,
Okay.
who was my best friend before he passed away a few years ago. I
Yes.
mean, I could sit down and we could talk sports all day, and I just I loved him, and he was a model to me growing up of what a man is, and uh, but anyway, I I did a lot of like research on guys like Maddox and stuff, and man, I remember just hearing stories. Like one story, after he pitched a shutout against like the Reds or somebody, and him and some teammates went out to dinner afterwards. And he's coming off of like two Cy Young awards, and they're waiting to get their table, and there's the Pirates are on TV, and he's watching it intently, and their table is ready, and so all the guys start walking towards the table, and he stays there. One of the guys comes back to get him, and he says, "No, I'm going to watch this game for a little while. I have to face the Pirates next week." And so I knew at that point that even the best of the best, they never stop learning and growing and getting better, or trying to get better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's, whether that's meaning you're the first there, at practice, or before a game, or you're the last one to leave. Uh, you got to put in work, and and that doesn't stop even when you're at the pinnacle, like a Greg Maddox. And I just always admired that, those kind of
Yeah.
stories, hearing about that, from
Yeah.
him. And there were a lot of stories like that. But yeah, man, I've always looked up to people that are really good at what they do. And when I've just found out about you, man, I just did a little research. I didn't do much, I didn't ask people or anything. I just got online, and when I saw your stats, man, I just was blown away, because me at the high school level, you know, and maybe you can speak to this in a minute, but in high school, it's maybe a couple guys each team that you really have to worry about, and maybe the rest of the lineup you can pretty much throw your fastball by them, and you don't have to worry too much about pitch selection or location as much. Well, then you go to the JUCO level. Well, then all of a sudden you're not the only one that was, two-time All-State or three-time All-District or whatever. All of a sudden there's these guys that play your same position, that are pitchers just like you, and they're saying they were, three-time All-State in Colorado or two-time All-District, and you're thinking like, okay, so the hitters are are going to be really good too, right? So, you know, I knew at that point, and from my dad's direction too, man, something had to separate me, not just ability, but what I did, before practice, after practice, maybe Friday nights, Saturday nights. I remember pulling my catcher over to our indoor facility and throwing bullpens, because on Fridays and Saturday nights, especially, because I knew that most college guys would be out partying on those Fridays and Saturday nights. And so I knew that even though it was just a little bit, that I would probably be gaining a slight advantage over those hitters.
Yeah.
And and so, and I was lucky and blessed enough to become a college All-American. And I talked to the Reds and the Phillies, but they never drafted me, man. I mean, I didn't have not just the draft experience that you had, but the success that you had. And I know that the steps that I took, just jumping from high school to JUCO, and then JUCO to that next level, that next collegiate level, which JUCO is pretty stacked when you get to baseball because there's so many guys that get drafted and and they want to go JUCO to, you know, because they only have to be there a year to get redrafted again, as opposed to going to a 4-year school and they have to wait for 3 years to get drafted. So, in my experience, I found the JUCO level to be just loaded with drafted guys. I remember facing the number one hitting team in the nation in JUCO ball, and 6 of the 9 guys in the lineup had been drafted. So, and I knew that before the game, and so that can mess with your mind a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And you have to overcome that, and you have to say, you know what, man, I've worked hard every day, and I'll outsmart them. You know, I'll out pitch these guys. I'll throw pitches on counts that they're not expecting. You know, I'm not afraid to throw a 3-2 change. You know, or whatever it might be, and I had great success against teams like that. You know, that were super talented, but never did I have the success that you had at that.
Did you beat that team?
I did. I pitched a five hit shutout. It was
Nice.
Garden City Community College out of Kansas. They were the number one hitting team in the nation at the time, and
Nice.
so it
Oh,
was,
nice.
yeah, it was
That's a pretty big deal.
one of my highlights. But it
That's a big win.
yeah, it got me. It kind of got me on the map, you know, as a freshman. It got my name out there, and got coaches to kind of know who I was. And I started, you know, out of high school. You know, I came from a small high school, I think like you did too. But I didn't get near the, you know, the love. I probably got more basketball offers than I did baseball offers, and that's not a detriment to my baseball skills. But I mean, I could, you know, I was okay at basketball, but I knew it at about 6'1", and not being able to dunk it really. I mean, it's close, but I probably
Right.
wasn't gonna, you know, go to the NBA most likely. But I had a
Yeah.
chance in baseball, and so I focused on that, and man, it was
Yeah.
the best decision I made. You know, it paid for all of my schooling, at least my bachelor's degree, and you know, I mean, I had to in college in at my 4-year school that I went to, I had to face schools like Texas Tech all the time, Dallas Baptist, who's one of the top schools now, um, and you know,
Pretty
just
good. Those are pretty good.
numbers of
Yeah.
really good schools that, you know, and I remember at the time, you know, these guys were just absolute studs, and you know, to see years later them, you know, be playing Major League Baseball, and no, they weren't the Mike Trouts or the Shohei Otanis, but I mean, they were, you know,
No, it's a big deal to get up there.
yeah, man,
It's a big deal.
they played at that
Yeah.
major league level, and so,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I've always, I've ever since then, I just, I've had a newfound respect for you. I respected you before that, but I just kind of, uh, I just always wanted to kind of talk to you and just
Yeah.
hear a little bit more about, you know, your greatness, and kind of remind people too, you know, so quickly. I think people sometimes they can say, "Man, that Beau Kemp or Chris Polson, you know, they were so dominant, you know, like in high school, but they never made it to the majors or whatever." And it's you know, unless you turn out to be, you know, like Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays or something. They
Yeah.
some people think of it as a disappointment when it really isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most people know that, but some people are just not very intelligent, and they don't look
Yeah.
at it that way. And so yeah, man, I would love to if you're cool with it, I'd love to
Yeah.
just ask you these questions, um and then I'll let you go, and then never know, man. But uh we'll go ahead and get started. But guys, I have who I promised for you on the phone with me right now, and it is the Beau Kemp, who played many years in the Minnesota Twins organization. And he is just a kid. I mean, he grew up a kid in Oklahoma, from what I understand, and we're going to learn a little bit more about him today. And I guess the first thing I'll try to get out of the way is Beau Kemp had a lifetime 2.81 ERA and a 1.27 WHIP. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Beau.
Yeah.
Is that right? In
Yes, sir.
professional baseball. Okay. So for for 8 seasons, okay? Now, it like you have one bad season, your ERA is not going to be below a 3 ERA, and your WHIP definitely is not going to be that low. So to have a combined ERA of 2.81 and a 1.27 WHIP, guys, I mean, you guys are baseball guys. You guys have been watching enough baseball to know how good that is. But um, it's just amazing. But before we get into that, um, if you would, Beau, tell us about your upbringing, mainly your high school years. What sports did you play, and how did you do in each one?
Okay. First of all, thank you for allowing me to share with you.
Absolutely.
Uh, at one point on the stat situation, I wouldn't have under my last stint with the Toronto, and that last I think was like I ended with like maybe like a month or month and a half worst start. I think it was like a 5 something. You take that away, if I would have continued, I probably would have brought that. I'm pretty good about bringing it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
It was
That's
one. You know what I mean?
18
That kind of brought
innings. Yeah.
that brought everything up.
Yeah, that's
But
11 earned runs right there. That
yeah,
that that
that's
was your last season, the with the Toronto
yeah. I think
AAA
that was
club. Yeah,
because it kind of
gotcha.
ended short. But we'll get to that. But no, so being from Tulsa, Oklahoma, went to Broken Arrow High School my freshman year, and I played with Brad Penny. If you've heard of him, he was
Of course.
I think he won a World Series
With the Marlins, right?
with the Marlins. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad Penny, guys. Brad
Yep.
Penny.
I was a freshman. He was a senior. I was the
Wow.
only freshman on that baseball team. So that started my high school career, and then after that season, I transferred to a school. It's called Tulsa Nathan Hill here in Tulsa metro area.
Hmm.
Uh, Won a state championship. Got Player of the Year my sophomore year um,
Wow.
at Nathan Hill as a sophomore. Then I ended up graduating from Nathan Hill in '99. But I ended up having football scholarship at quarterback with a verbal commitment to Oklahoma State to play quarterback, and then I ended up signing with Northeastern Oklahoma to play quarterback there.
Wow.
Um,
So So you had offers, football offers from anywhere from
Yeah. So I had offers, to
yeah,
Illinois, KU, Arizona, not Oklahoma.
you're right,
At that
right.
time, I think Oklahoma was rebuilding back in '99. I
Hmm.
think the best team in Oklahoma at that time was maybe Tulsa, TU.
Yeah, yeah. I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. Um, and then maybe Arkansas had letters there.
Uh-huh.
For
Absolutely.
football. These are football teams.
Football. Okay.
Yeah. So
That's amazing. And that was to play quarterback for
quarterback.
them.
Yeah.
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 That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
So
what, if I may ask, what did you do as a sophomore? I mean, what were your numbers like to, I mean, because
uh,
most kids as a sophomore, I think are like most of the viewers that played baseball in high school that were sophomores. I mean, I think a lot of them were maybe playing JV ball as sophomores, and you're at a varsity level, best player in the state.
so I think if I kind of remember correctly, I think I was like 21-0 that time
21 and 0. Yeah.
pitching. Let's see, I might have had like, I don't know, almost 15 home runs.
Wow.
I played shortstop, and then also I want to say my batting average was up there too, like around 600 maybe.
That's
It was pretty.
amazing.
It was up there, 500 or 600.
Yeah.
Um, so I really and somebody had to tell me those things because I never looked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would, the stat situation. My dad, I was never into stats. I never because I was only for a championship, and I really didn't start paying attention to my baseball stats until like my second year of pro ball, which I was in low A ball when I was in Quad City, Iowa. Is
Okay.
whenever is whenever the bullpen started talking about these stats, and
Hmm.
there was
Yeah.
people, how it is.
I hear you, man. Yeah.
When I'm looking at the big picture, I'm just trying to win a ring. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that might have been the advantage that I had is because I never looked and paid attention to my stats. My only mission was to win. Um, so
Now you threw righty, but did you swing lefty?
no, I was a right-handed
You
hitter.
were a right-handed hitter. Okay.
Yeah,
And as a sophomore, were you 5'10" or close to that, or were you a
no,
smaller guy?
I was. I think, man, I want to say maybe I was 5'10", 5'11". I could have been 6 foot at the time too.
Okay. Okay.
I matured kind of fast.
Yeah.
I grew. I had a quick growth spurt. Didn't get any taller than that.
Yeah, I did too. I actually
Yeah,
passed everyone in my family at the age of 12, believe it or not.
yeah, yeah,
So I hear you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but
So so
and then,
you had those offers for football, but you were excelling at baseball, and and
yeah,
then
and I want to say like as a sophomore, I was throwing maybe 92, 93,
okay.
94.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, by the time I was a senior at a high school, a senior in high school, I was throwing 95, 96.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that is to all the viewers out there, when you throw 95, 96, that's what gets you drafted. That's one of the reasons. So, but so
Um, so
go
I
ahead,
ended
go
up,
ahead, man. Sorry
so
about
I
that.
ended up getting, so I ended up getting drafted from Nathan Hill by the Orioles, by
Okay.
Baltimore Orioles, in the
Baltimore
31st,
Orioles.
in the
Gotcha.
31st round. Yeah.
And you didn't sign with the Orioles, and um tell us a little bit about your reasoning behind that, and then what were your steps after that?
Well, a big reason why I didn't sign with the Orioles is because I really didn't. I wasn't too educated on what I was worth.
Mhm.
I was misled by certain people about being drafted, within the first, second, third, fourth, fifth round. So I was kind of upset. I thought I was worth more. I actually had a phone call before the draft day by the Dodgers, and he asked me um, if I signed with. So he said, if I give you, if there's a down payment on a house worth signing with us, and I said I don't know how much that is. He didn't give me a number, so I said
Mhm.
no. And that just right there tells you that I wasn't very smart. Um,
But
and I thought
you
I
were a
was
kid though, man. You were in
right.
high school,
Yeah,
right?
I
So.
didn't have any guidance. My dad
Mhm.
was not in the home at the time. I didn't
Mhm.
have my mom. She was barely around. So I'm sitting here trying to, you know, have this misconception of what I'm worth. You know what I mean? So
Sure. Sure.
um, anyway, so I get drafted by the Orioles in like the 31st round. I'm kind of upset, and I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna sign because my I think back in 97, 97, 98, Perfect Game had just started, and I had
Mhm.
went down my junior and senior year down to Fort Myers for Perfect Game, and the head guy for the for Perfect Game would always drive me, meet my dad in like Memphis, and take me the rest of the way to Perfect Game in uh, Fort Myers, and he also took me to Perfect Game down in San Antonio, and I played with all the best high school players in the country and Perfect Game at that time, and they like split us up into like four teams, and
Oh wow.
so anyway, there was like a guy down there from Kansas City. He said that if you don't get drafted for some reason, or you don't go take my card, there's a guy in Kansas City. He's part owner of the Royals, and he owns a bank in Kansas City, and he also owns a bank in Tulsa. And I didn't
Mm.
mind. I was like, I don't get drafted. It kind of blew him off a little bit. I
Mhm.
kept the card. And as soon as I went to 31st round, I got on that phone and I called that guy, and he had me on a plane the next day to Kansas City.
Oh wow.
He said he put the team together, this travel team, to go down and play in the AAU National Championship down in Orlando at Disney World. And they're going to play a few tournaments. They're going to put a team together. Pat Neshek was on that team.
Pat
Jason Turley
Neshek.
was on that.
So just to educate for the younger viewers, Pat Neshek could throw the baseball, and that dude could play some ball back in the day. I mean, for the younger viewers that we have here. So if you don't know about Pat Neshek, look him up because
Yeah,
that dude was very very good.
yeah, he was on that team. He was a good friend of mine. He was actually drafted by the Twins at that time. He didn't sign with them either.
Oh, okay.
He ended up going to Butler University, but we shared an apartment that summer, and
Oh, very cool.
yeah, so we ended up we were called the Kansas City Monarchs, and traveled, and I actually my junior and senior year out of high school, I kind of blew baseball off. After I won that state championship, I kind of like what else I need to do, what else I need to prove. I had some teammates leave. I was like, well, I'm just gonna go through the motions. Still got drafted because I threw so hard. Um,
Hmm.
but then I turned it back on that summer with the Kansas City team because I figured if this guy's going to spend all this money on me, I mean, he flew me from Kansas City on his private jet back and forth from Kansas City to Tulsa on half days just for meetings and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah. So
That's big time. Yeah.
he invested in me, so I was like, okay, if he's going to invest in me and give me this much money, then I'm going to go to I'm going to train. I'm going to train hard, and I'm going to win for this guy. You know.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what I did. I trained hard, um, got back in my routine again, started getting in shape again, started getting my arm in shape again, and so we went down to Orlando, and I started throwing. I think if there's 7 inning games, I
Hmm.
would start off 91, 92 in the first inning, and I would end up about 95, 96 in about the seventh inning. Never
Wow.
lost a game in that tournament. I forget my average, but it was pretty high in that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
These are the best players in America,
right,
at this tournament, and so we ended up making it to the championship game. I ended up pitching that game. I scored all the runs in that game. Wow. It was the Cucamonga Dodgers we played against. And they were a tough team. They were a really tough team. And by the way, that, in my opinion, when you got 18-year-olds that are ruthless, not getting paid, those are the hardest, best competition that you can face.
I bet.
Because
absolutely.
nobody's getting paid that it's ruthless. It's just from the heart.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're grinding. There's nobody like sitting on money. There's nobody, there's nobody. That was the difference that I saw at that level, at that tournament, than I did when I went to pro ball.
Wow. Yeah. That hunger. Yeah.
Yeah, the hunger, the fire, like the fight.
Yeah.
The killer instinct that
Yeah.
That's what I witnessed whenever I played in that tournament.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
And so anyway, when I won that championship, I ended up getting most valuable player of that tournament out of the nation. So the guy, his son was on that team. His name was Joe Gillian. He asked me. He said, "Hey, Joe's gonna go to Saddleback in Mission Viejo, California, Laguna Beach. Do you want to go be his roommate in California?" And I didn't even hesitate. And I said, "Yeah."
And that's Saddleback JC for you viewers. So junior college in California, very good junior college. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's called the Orange Empire Conference, and it's its own little conference over there,
right,
in Southern California.
A
lot of good baseball players in that conference.
So much talent in California that if I understand right, the JUCO level is just based out of California, right?
They don't play the rest of the United States.
Right.
They just play California.
So it's so talented that they just stay within California. That's amazing. Yeah. So you were at Saddleback that first year.
So I turned down my football scholarship. I turned away football and went baseball college in Southern California, which was a great experience. Southern California was an eye opener for me.
I bet.
Different.
Yeah.
Different place. Learned a lot. Love it. I'm so thankful for that experience. Being so far away from home at a young age too, though. Just kind of opened my eyes up a little bit, which I loved it. I think every kid needs to go away from maybe their home a little bit, away from mom and dad, and just have an experience.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if they can, if you have the opportunity, you might.
I agree.
I guess it's good.
Yeah. I think that is what turned me from a boy into a man. Is my first experience away from parental type figures. For me, it was my mom and my dad, and even though I missed them, it was something that you almost have to go through to understand it. But it does kind of turn you into a man and a woman. I'm sure if you're a girl, it really helps you to grow up.
Because if you're going to play pro ball anyway, right off the bat, you're going to be leaving far away anyway. You're going to go. You're going to be ready to live on the plane, live in a plane and hotels.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
So I ended up. I don't know my career there, but I ended up turning down the Orioles and re-entered the draft and went with the Twins. I didn't go with the Orioles because, in my mind, and in my opinion, they didn't offer me enough. Even though it was more than what they offered me out of high school, it just wasn't what I thought I was worth. But looking back now, understand, a little bit more about where they were coming from.
And to kind of explain to the viewers, if and correct me if I'm wrong, but uh, one of one of the reasons I played JUCO ball myself was because if you go to a 4-year college, like whether it's a USC or Florida or Oklahoma or whatever it might be, you have to wait until after your redshirt sophomore year or your junior year to get drafted. But if you go JUCO and play 1 year, you can get drafted, and the team that drafts you has 364 days, or at least at that time, they have 364 days to still sign you, and so they can sign you up until if they drafted you that year before, they can they have 364 days until the next draft to try to up their offer to get you to sign so you don't go into that next draft. And so anyway, it's not only JUCO ball is full of guys that have been drafted, and and off camera we were talking, Beau and I were talking about that, and that was my experience. I faced more drafted players at the JUCO level by far than I ever did at the D1 level. It blew me away. I remember facing six in one lineup of 9 guys, facing 6 of the 9 guys in that lineup had been drafted by some major league team. So, that was just one team. And that just happened all the time as we went and faced these great programs and stuff. And, I'm sure that Beau experienced the same thing too, playing against top-notch competition, and just kind of speaking a little bit about, because you did say something about the Orioles were still talking to you.
Yeah, yep. They had rights to me.
Yeah.
A new scout, obviously the area scout or the regional scout, had a meeting with me. It made me a new offer. I didn't take it, and then that's when they said that we're just going to re-enter me in the draft, and that's when I got drafted by the Twins. And I knew that by the end of the season, that school probably wasn't the way that I was going to go. So there was a point in my during that year that I knew that I was just going to go ahead and play ball.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to just go with the Twins.
Okay. Gotcha. And
yeah.
So, but you did have success at the JUCO level, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
I was a starting pitcher. I played second base during the fall. I had a knee injury. I was sliding the third one day, and it kind of took me out of the player situation. But I was a 3-hole hitter, played second. I led the team in home runs. I led the team in average.
Wow.
I mean, but I didn't play a position during the spring.
Yeah.
Just focused on the pitching part.
Gotcha. And that's very rare for the viewers out there that have never played college ball, and maybe you were very good at the high school level. Like Beau played the field and he pitched, as did I. But like once I got to JUCO ball, I had to just pitch. They had so many good hitters that I was in no way going to compete against them to get in that lineup. I had to worry about, pitching well enough to stay, the number one starter in the rotation. Well, Beau was pitching lights out and hitting, so that's very rare especially really at any level in college. But that's pretty impressive right there.
Yeah. I mean, I did like hitting home runs. I'll tell you that.
I bet, man. There's really nothing better, right?
Yeah. I
And
like
maybe
hitting home
nothing
runs.
worse than someone hitting a home run off of you like that. I
Right.
mean, it's almost the polar opposite, a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least in my experience. But
No, that's true.
but
That's why.
hitting
That's
home,
why I think that's why I like hitting home runs because I knew the feeling that I was going to give to a pitcher when I did that.
right? Yeah, that makes sense, man. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you get drafted by the Twins, and you decide to sign, and and then what happens? Where did they send you at that point? I would suspect it was rookie ball,
Yeah. Well, I actually went to instructional league.
instructionally. Okay.
I went to instructional league. I forget what part of the time that is. I went home right after school for a short stint. I actually got married. I was my wife at the time. She was pregnant. So I went to instructional league. Okay, so it had to been like during the fall for like either new draftees or like prospects maybe
Uh-huh.
that was their first year. Um, but I do remember leaving instructional league early. It was in October to go back home for the birth of my firstborn. So I guess it was during like the fall, like that's instructional league.
Okay.
Then and then that spring I reported back like what March for rookie ball. So that's when I started in rookie ball down in Fort Myers. So that's where the springs. I mean, that's where the Twins have their spring training is in Fort Myers. And
Okay.
that's where instructional league is going to be in down there. Was pretty successful right away. Had like a lot of strikeouts, I think, and I remember like having 7 strikeouts in 2 innings. There was a drop third strike, and after
Oh wow.
that, like I called up the next day to Elizabethton, which is another rookie league
Okay.
up in the Appalachian League up there in Tennessee.
Yes.
Uh, I
And
got sent
you,
there.
from my view online, you dominated at that level. Was that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Here's the shocker for me was because I've been a starter my whole life. I was used to throwing 7 innings, complete games, shutouts,
Right.
knowing how to pitch, using all 4 pitches, and then I get to pro ball and now I'm a closer. And I don't know what that means. So I'm just only going to pitch 1 inning,
Right. Yeah.
you know.
That'd be a
So
huge
that
adjustment. Your whole
I was
life,
like, I
you're a
was like,
starter.
man,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if it was good or bad,
Yeah.
you know. Um,
That makes sense. Yeah.
because I was like, this is going to be too easy. 1 inning, that's all I got to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can do
I don't even got.
7 or 9 usually. Yeah.
I don't even got to throw no other pitches.
All
I
right.
just have to throw a fastball
Yeah.
and a curveball, maybe.
Right. But
But
your numbers there, and if I'm correct, you pitched about 20 innings, only gave up 12 hits, only 6 walks, had 28 Ks in those 20 innings. You had 7 saves, a 2.18 ERA, and an 0.87 WHIP. That's unbelievable, dude. That's hard to do, right? I mean, that wasn't easy. I mean, I guess in some ways it was, but for
yeah, I
those,
mean,
yeah,
I was so conditioned to throw 7, 9 innings.
yeah,
So for 1 inning, for me to go out there and just, throw
yeah,
that roll, just I thought they were pretty good at knowing what role I should play.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to lose, and I was going to attack you. And I guess that's if I could, let anybody know what type of pitcher I was. Is I'm just going to throw it right down the middle.
Yeah.
Basically, right down the middle. Let you try to hit it.
You're going to attack the zone, basically,
I'm just
right?
going to attack the zone right away because it's like I'm going to throw the first pitch strike every single time.
Yeah.
And I'm ahead right away.
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard as a hitter to if I can get that first pitch and I'm ahead now. Now I have you, and early on in my career, I was like I wanted to strike you out, but later on, I wanted my pitch count to be low because I wanted to go 3 days in a row.
Right.
So I understood that part of the game too. I figured that part of the game out too. I wasn't going for strikeouts anymore. I was just going for low pitch count innings.
Gotcha.
Because I wanted my defense out of it quick.
Yeah. And for those of you viewers that maybe haven't played baseball but love to watch baseball, as you guys know, a strikeout pitcher generally is going to throw a lot more pitches in a game than a ground ball pitcher or a fly ball pitcher because they're having to throw at least 3 pitches to each hitter, especially if they strike out a lot of guys. So, but there's going to be guys that foul pitches off. They're going to throw balls. There'll be 2-2 counts. And then maybe foul off 3 or 4 pitches till they finally get that strikeout. But ground ball pitchers, fly ball pitchers, they have lower pitch counts because they don't necessarily need that strikeout or they can't get that strikeout. And so they just need the hitter to hit it on the ground or hit it in the air somewhere to one of their fielders. So in my experience, that's, the difference between a strikeout pitcher and a fly ball or ground ball pitcher. So
yeah. So I started off my career, probably my stats probably showed it as a strikeout pitcher, and then I kind of evolved it into a ground ball pitcher because my two seam was really a sinker pitch. So if I was going to hit your barrel, it was going into the ground anyway. So I fielded the ball a lot. I had a lot of broken bats, and then also my third baseman and shortstop usually were the ones to field the ball.
Yeah.
They were choppy balls, nothing really solid.
If I may interject, so this is kind of an example of what Beau is saying. So, like in Class A ball at Quad Cities, he had a 2.51 ERA, and he had 29 saves. 29 saves. Why did they not call you up right then? You know what I mean? But anyway.
Let me.
Yeah.
I don't, because at that time I did not know why.
Yeah.
I thought that I could get called up at any time.
Yeah.
Going into pro ball, I thought that I could get called up from any level. And you really you can if you're a high round draft pick.
Yeah, because the scouts and
they've already spent $5 million on it.
Right.
And it's in their contract. Now, back then it was. I think that's when it started, where in their contract you get a big league call up no matter what.
Yeah.
But as a low round draft pick, you got to go through each level. You have to. Well, I don't. At least with the Twins, most likely they needed you to go at every level.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. But I was pitching to get called up, and the way that my mindset was, I was trying to be the most dominant pitcher. Like if you would have called me up in the big leagues that year,
yeah,
wouldn't have mattered who was hitting.
Yeah, I bet,
I was
man.
going to dominate you. I mean, because in that league right there, I was pitching against. This was my class, the Boston
Right.
Red Sox class. It was it was Euclid, it was Pedroia, it was
Wow.
the
Euclid,
Shopping,
Pedroia,
it was Kelly Shopping.
Kelly Shopper. Yeah.
Uh, Boston had a really good team. The Mets had a really good team. The Phillies had a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Phillies. Those teams ended up winning. Those teams that I always at each level played against, both the Phillies and the Red Sox, because all of us went to each level at the same time. Like every year, we went up. Like we all went up together. We all faced each other every year, right? All the way through AAA.
Sure.
And they got to go to the big leagues. I did, but made them better hitters.
Yeah.
But dominated.
Yeah. And let me just really quick for the viewers, let me restate what I meant to say. So at Quad Cities, which was single A, you had a 2.51 ERA, you had 43 innings pitched, 46 Ks, so and a 1.02 whip, which is just amazing. But then you get called up to high A, I would suspect, which is Fort Myers. And so high A guys and A is obviously a huge jump. I mean, it's a difference in the hitters that you're having to face at A and high A. So he goes from A to high A, and his ERA goes from 2.51 to 0.66, and he pitches 25 more innings, so he pitches 68 innings, but your strikeout total went to 49, so it wasn't like you were striking out one an inning, but you were still striking out a lot of dudes, and your whip went from 1.02 to 0.98, and uh, and you had a 0.66 ERA, if I didn't say that already. So I don't know if that was the time when you kind of switched your thinking from.
That was when I switched my thinking. That was
Okay.
when I flipped the script. Like a light bulb came on. I figured stuff out. My pitching coordinator kind of helped me with my angle situation,
Mm-hmm.
with the speed to the plate, and then also knowing that I didn't have to strike you out.
Right.
I just was going to let my two seam run.
Gotcha.
And the way that and my delivery was different though. My delivery was a little bit quick. It was a slide step. It was almost there was no wind up. I learned that I didn't have to have a leg kick, and I could still throw 96. I learned that I didn't have to get a big load before I delivered the ball. So that was a hard time. So it would be like me snapping my wrist and 96 coming to you. It was
Gotcha.
it was very it was hard to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
More of a
it,
reliever's delivery, though, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So I eliminated the wind up. I eliminated the leg kick. Um, there were some things that I tweaked with my delivery, but my mindset was different. I trained harder that off season. I was ready to get to the big leagues right away. I knew that no matter who was going up to bat, I knew if I got to high A ball, that I was going to from there. I was going to get to the big leagues quick.
Yeah.
And um, all these other, everybody started saying these names like who we were facing. Like I remember Miguel Cabrera, he was with the Detroit at the time. We had a lot of Venezuelans on our team too, so they kind of, they would always talk about Miguel and all this stuff. And it didn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
I just knew that they couldn't hit me. I knew that they were scared. I knew that they were afraid. I knew that no matter how hard they tried or how hard they wanted it, they weren't going to beat me. I do remember my hardest at that level though. I do remember the shortstop for the Mets.
Yeah.
Who was a big leaguer for the Mets?
At that
For a
time,
long
uh, well, that was way past Greg Jeffries, which was the '80s. Let's see.
so this would have been like in like
In
2007,
2000,
8, 9.
yeah. Uh, I don't know, man. Let
Okay.
me.
So
What?
anyway, I just remember him
2000
playing
what?
hard eight. I just remember he was a hard out. He was a lefty. I think I remember that. I mean, there wasn't too many guys at that level that were too strong yet.
Yeah.
Double A, I had a rough year because after that year, they did put me on the major league roster, on the 40-man roster. Um, they did get, so now I'm in big league camp. I'm 21 years old. So I did get that. I did get a promotion, in a sense. I didn't get called up. I was still disappointed, but I didn't know there was a process, more of a. You had to go through.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Um, but by the time I got to Double A, I was kind of depressed a little bit. I was like, man, what do I got to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
So
Jose Reyes. Uh,
Jose Reyes, yeah,
yeah, that dude was a stud, man.
yeah, I remember he was a tough out. I mean, he was an out, but it was a tougher out. He's the only
Oh,
one that I actually remember
those were back in my fantasy baseball playing days, and Jose Reyes was a first round pick every year because that dude did it all. I
he
mean,
was a tough out.
he could hit. He
I
had
remember
a little.
he got up there pretty fast. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, and he was a Dominican kid, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
right. That's who it was. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, man, but
no,
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, no, yeah.
And those of you that are too young to know who Jose Reyes is, man, look up his stats because that dude could rake, man. He could hit, he could steal bases, he could
Right.
do pretty much anything. And I'm sure at the minor league level, having to face him was no cakewalk. But yeah, it sounds
I
like.
remember. I just remember him.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm always pitching in the ninth, and if it's a close game or not. I just remember that battle for some reason. Uh, I just remember. Just, you can remember guys like. To be honest with you, the only guys I do remember facing that were in battle in AAA,
Uh-huh.
were, the only guys I remember that didn't take a pitch off was Pedroia and Shane Victorino.
Yes. The
And those two were the only. I mean, even though I got them,
flying Hawaiian, Shane Victorino.
yeah, yeah,
That was his nickname anyway.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Pedroia, of
And those,
course, was
yeah,
a
those
long
two
time in
were,
Boston.
yeah, those two were going to battle. Those two were not going to. Uh, those two guys right there, I do remember facing.
Uh,
Uh,
I would remember facing them too, man. Honestly,
yeah,
because I think most of our viewers that know those guys who, if they're like 25 or older, which a lot of our viewers are, they know exactly who you're talking about. So
yeah, yeah.
those are
I
big
would,
time guys.
yeah, I respect those two guys. Even though even if you beat them the majority of the time, because I know, in my situation when I'm the closer, I'm not probably gonna get beat. You know,
Yeah,
but if I do get beat, I'm gonna remember who beat me,
yeah.
and I do remember getting beat by one time by Pedroia,
Okay,
uh, and one time by Victorino.
is that right?
It just in one game. All it takes is one game, one blown save, or one
Sure.
something happened. Um, whenever they get you at one time, and I respect that because you didn't really get me. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And for those that are watching that maybe are in high school, that's the whether you're that type of personality or not, you to be the best you can be, you have to almost take on that personality he's talking about, like a bulldog mentality. Like you uh you hate to lose. You don't like just not losing the game, but you don't like losing to hitters, to individual hitters, and you become a guy who remembers who got you last time and who didn't get you last time, and that stays in your mind, and it's hard to sleep at night. And those that
Yeah,
are great at what they do
yeah,
in baseball, those dudes, you
yeah,
think that they just go home and kick back or whatever, but oh no, they remember those dudes like he's talking about,
yeah,
and then they make a concerted effort when they face their old team or that
yeah.
whatever team that guy's on or whatever.
They're not going to win again.
Exactly, yeah. You have to have that mentality, right?
Yeah,
Or you're gonna
yeah,
be at home, right? Not playing professional baseball. I mean, that's the kind of
yeah.
mentality you have to have, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just a kind of a. I mean, the best way I can think of it is because I was never one that I was always the one that we would lose a basketball game, and I might have put up 20 and 10 or something, but I would go shake the other team's hands and stuff, and uh, but for the bigger games, I used to have to reach deep inside me and find something to anger me or irritate me about the other team, or maybe something they said in the paper, or whatever it might be, to get me to kind of take me to that next level. Um, and so for you guys out there, it's not just for baseball players, but man, you're playing football, you're at the
yeah,
collegiate level, or you're playing baseball, or you're a girl playing softball, or whatever it might be. You have to kind of buy into that and have that type of mentality. In my experience, and then you know people that I've spoken with that have been successful, like Beau Kemp. I mean, they're saying the exact same thing, and so I hear you, man.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I used to get upset if I gave up a run,
Yeah,
not just
right.
blown blown save or loss. I would get upset because you know, one of the things is that baseball was life to me. You know,
Yeah.
and that probably was kind of led towards my downfall too, um,
Hmm.
because it doesn't have to be your life, but it was my life.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, even though I was a believer, um, the, the Lord wasn't at the center of my life. Baseball was,
Right.
and so if I gave up a run, I had a bad time.
Sure.
If we lost, if I was pitching and we lost, I had a bad time.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that next inning, and it could have been a day or two. Even I was out of the bullpen, so I mean, I was pretty much up every day unless I threw 3 days in a row. But I was only as good as my last outing,
Yeah.
and I didn't like that feeling. So I tried to, I very rarely had a bad outing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted my life to be good. I wanted
Yeah.
my days to be good days, so I didn't give up
Right.
a run.
Well, good for you, and good for other people around you probably too, because at least in my experience, if you carry that with you, it affects those that you care about, whether that be teammates or family, loved ones, and that that
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So, okay, we're a little over an hour in, man. I promised you I'd have you off here before then. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if it's cool with you, um, tell me a little bit about how you could have spent 8 seasons in the minors, um, and I know you had that one stint at AAA, right, with Toronto, but um, and you kind of explained it, and that makes sense about uh, these GMs, the front offices of these organizations. They're hired and fired not generally based on their their fourth round pick or their 20th round pick. It's their first and second round picks, right? So those are the guys that they're going to give the first dibs to, right? And but was there something else, or do you feel like that was the reason? Because for you to have a career 2.81 ERA, to have 78 career saves when you weren't a full-time closer, um, and when you were in those seasons, you closed out all the games. But I mean, you had a 1.27 WHIP. Why at 20, at 22, at 24, at 25 were you not called up?
Um, well, let's see. Looking back now, and even then, I didn't quite see it then because but now knowing that billions of dollars are invested in these players, these organizations, they spend so much money on investing in their product
Right.
that I didn't quite see the big picture. So my lifestyle was not where it should be. I thought it was just going to be based on my stat. Like if you just look at my stats, you look at me as a baseball player, as a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should have been easily. I should have been up in the big leagues a long time ago.
Yeah.
21.
Right.
But with these organizations, they look at more than that. They look at your lifestyle. They look and see who's going out at night, who's doing what.
Yeah.
What kind of life are they? Can they handle not? Can they handle life? You know,
Sure.
and at that time, I was not handling life correctly. I had gotten into some trouble during the baseball season. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one time with the Twins, with a roommate out at night with the GM there,
Mm.
and that right there,
Yeah.
kind of put a scar on them trusting me.
Right.
Am I a liability? Do I know how to just handle my life correctly?
Right.
So I think that obviously, uh, even though how good I did, how much success I had, they didn't think that I was ready or mature enough to handle that stage. Um,
Gotcha.
And I didn't know that at the time, because you think that you. So when I'm 22 and I'm constantly thinking I got to prove something, I do it. I try. I keep proving it. I keep proving it statistically, but I don't catch on that, hey, and there's times when I'm like, okay, you know what, Beau, I'm not going out. I'm not going to hang out. I'm not going to go with the teammates. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And I do, and I stay, keep my nose clean. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of get back into it, kind of go hanging out, because I can't control, that lifestyle as good as I should have. And it just got me in trouble.
Yeah.
And they knew that. So I want to say that not the game part, but the life part. is what held me back from getting to the big leagues.
So
And being with the Twins, I think that's what happened. So when I went to the Blue Jays, I had a clean start, signed a free agent contract. I'm with a new team, and then the reason why they get me is because I dominate the Blue Jays every time I pitch against them.
Oh, gotcha.
So basically, when you're pitching against other teams that, like, whoever you probably dominate, that team's probably going to go get you.
Yeah.
So they don't have to face you anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
If you can't beat them, join them, right? Or have them join you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then so I'm with the new team, and then obviously I think, okay, they're going to give me a chance, and they did. I mean, they straight in the big league camp. I get there fast, and it was just me and Roy Halladay.
Oh,
He's
wow.
my throwing partner for like the first 2 weeks.
Is that right? Roy Halladay. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's big time.
And then, and Frank Thomas is right next to me.
Oh, Frank.
Right next to me.
The big hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had a very good experience with the Blue Jays right off the bat, in big league camp.
Yeah.
And I feel pretty welcome there. I feel like I'm going to do good there. But then again, I kind of that lifestyle got a hold of me, and so I got at the last. Let's see, towards the end of big league camp, you get sent down. I got sent back down to AAA, and then so I break with the AAA team and start hanging out, and we go out, and I get into a fight, and then somebody, my teammates had said, like the bouncer snapped my wrist, my pitching wrist, and
oh man,
that's how my career ended.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I went back to the lifestyle. If I would know and just had the lifestyle that I have now.
Yeah.
Back then, knowing the truth, knowing that just the things that and the way that you stay in shape, and the consistency, and the things that really matter.
Yeah.
It I put too much pressure on myself. I think baseball wise, like I put a little bit too much pressure on myself, instead of just knowing that the Lord has me, that I don't have anything to prove to anybody else.
Absolutely, man.
And I just could have just took a little bit less pressure off myself. I could have probably maybe just and put the Lord first.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He wasn't at the center of my life. He was there, but he wasn't at the center. And so baseball was my God, and it kind of let me down. Obviously, just when baseball is your God, it's not going to. It doesn't fulfill me enough.
Yeah.
I have to win every single day, and if I don't win, then I'm upset. And that's not the truth,
If for those viewers out there, man, what he's saying is so right on, man. And it doesn't matter if you're playing professional baseball, or if you're an accountant, or if you're a construction worker, or whatever it might be. I've been very straightforward on this channel about being faith first, and in my relationship with the Lord, and how that is number one in my life, and how important it is for each and every one of you, that each and every one of you were made for a purpose. So even if you don't have this outstanding athletic ability, man, God thought of you every second that He was designing you and creating you. And so He has a purpose for your life. And if you're breathing out there, then God can use you, and not only use you, mightily, but He will fill your heart, and you'll feel like you've never felt before, a joy, a peace, a hope, um, that passes all understanding. And just know to each and every one of you guys that that watch this and that have been with me since my main channel, CP3EP. I think I've shared this many times that each one of you, regardless of your age, whether you're 15 or whether you're 80, man, God made you for a purpose. And for some it's athletics, or that's one of the things God, you know, maybe puts into people. And others it's other stuff, and you have to seek that out to have, um I don't want to say a balanced life, but to have a good life, man. That's my experience, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
just
yeah, yeah,
this channel is, I've always tried to, at the very end of all my broadcasts, to tell each and every one of those guys out there and girls that they were made for a purpose, and to
yeah,
never forget that. And
that's right.
uh, speaking of that, I have a loving wife that has been more than gracious with me in my time with you. But I have a 2-year old and a 5-year-old that I am going to have to go. But I would love to ask you if you just want to end on, do you have anything, whether it's advice for baseball players out there or for just anybody out there, or do you just have any last words or anything?
Um, if I could just, if two things, you got to put the Lord first in your life. No matter how good baseball was to me, it didn't fulfill everything. Um, and I guess that's it became my God, and it gave me some highs and at the moment, but it didn't. I was always searching for something that wasn't there
Yeah,
until I came to the Lord. Now, now I've gone through and overcome, and He's fulfilled me, and He's able to, take the pressure off, and able to have a clarity and can see. And when you don't have the Lord and you don't have love in your life, it's hard to see. It's hard, when you have
yeah,
anger or resentment or anything like that. It's You can't really see too far ahead of you. You know,
yeah,
but and then also I would say in baseball or sports, you basically are going to always have to face some type of failure, and you're just going to have to deal with it. You have to deal with it and
yeah.
overcome it, and know there's another pitch to be made. There's another step to take. There's another chance that you're going to have. And don't let that last one affect your next one. So you
That's
have to be in
awesome,
a
man.
good place to be able to battle the next battle instead of and I guess in baseball I had a short term memory is what they said, because I just forget about it because I knew that there was some that a team is relying on me. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself or to think about what just happened.
Yeah,
I still have to get out of the inning, and I still have another at bat to take. I still have to perform. So you just still have to continue to play the game, even though things happen.
that's
You
good.
still gotta, you still gotta get, you still have to have, and in life you have to have joy to continue. You have to take care of yourself. You have to, you have to create some energy, some type of discipline in your life to keep battling, because you're gonna have to battle.
Yeah,
There's something that's going to happen, to where you're going to have to win, to come through. You don't have to win, but you just have to fight, you know,
right.
and get through it.
That's so
And I
true,
think,
man.
I think that's why baseball is such a rewarding sport, is
Yeah,
because no matter how good you are, it will humble you right away.
yeah,
And that's probably why you can't tell, like, probably couldn't tell I was even a baseball player, because I forget those days. Because I remember that was my identity. And if that's baseball's my identity, and if it's taken away from me, then I'm like, I could possibly go in a state of like I'm not worth anything. Like I'm worthless.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Well,
That's not good at all. That's not good to think. Put your identity in something.
well, to speak on that, I have to tell my viewers that when I met Beau for the first time, and the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, there was no way that you knew that this guy like was Mr. Oklahoma, and I mean, just dominated from his sophomore year on, not only in baseball but in football, and then played 8 seasons of professional baseball for the Minnesota Twins and the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, the guy did not give off any airs that, he was this great athlete or anything. I had to just stumble across it. And then, of course, the internet. I mean, all you have to do is type in Beau Kemp stats. And I quickly found out that he was much more in a baseball sense than he ever shared with me, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. Uh, One of the most genuine and genuinely kind people, not just to me as a man and as a former baseball player, but to my wife, to my 5-year-old son. I mean, he treats everybody with respect and with love, and expects, no reverence for. Uh, Believe me, when I talk to other people in this state about Beau Kemp, they just jaws drop, and I'm talking about dudes that played against them, coaches that coached against them, people that just read the newspaper or watched the news. I mean, this guy was Mr. Everything. And one of the coolest things about him, though, is he does not uh, live his life in that way. And appreciate you sharing about the Lord, and appreciate you sharing your, your life background and your baseball background. And just appreciate your time, man. I know you're a busy dude, and uh, I'm grateful to you for taking the time to spend with us, man. On behalf of all the viewers, man, we're grateful to you. Thanks, Beau.
I appreciate this. I really do. I really appreciate it. I'm thankful. Obviously we've been trying to do this for a while, but
Yeah.
I can get my life can get busy. It stays busy, but I do. Forgive me for taking so long to get
No
with you.
worries, man. No worries. This was God's
On the
timing,
note of
man. This was
your son
perfect
though,
timing.
yeah, your son is going to be a player. I can
I
just tell because
appreciate that.
yeah, because fundamentally I feel like he's a good listener already.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a little bit in the sense of like understanding or wants to. There's something about him that wants to that he has enough love, or he has something inside of him that he's like, okay, I want to make mom and dad proud, or
Yeah.
like he can do it, and he's already getting started at it. There's certain things I don't have to tell him, or I just got to tell him one time, and he does it.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. That means
Yeah,
a
so
lot to me. Thank you.
and he's getting better every lesson.
Yeah.
Every lesson.
Yeah.
Everyone, I can tell the difference, and it just take, and all it is with any sports is you just got to just take time doing it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
There's a study out there, like if you spend a certain amount of time each day, you're going to be better than what most of the world.
I 100% agree. And he just kind of has that innate work ethic in him. And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
appreciate the time that you've spent with him and all that
I
you've
enjoy
taught
it.
him, man. So, Beau Kemp, guys, he is not only a legend, and I encourage you to go look up his stats. Beau Kemp stats. Just type it into Google. Check out the stats, man. You guys will be blown away. And
Just one more thing.
yeah,
My son, he's 9 years old, and
yes.
he's gonna be better than me.
I was gonna say to those out there, be watching for Beau's son, because I saw this kid hit, and the dude just flat out rakes, man, in the cages, and I can't even imagine without the restrictions of the cages, like how good this kid is and how good he's gonna be.
Yeah.
So,
Just
in my short experience, I could see all that talent, man. So,
yeah.
congratulations in
You'll
advance,
get
man.
to, if you're around, you'll get to see him.
I will be around, man,
Perform.
and I look forward to it
Yeah.
if you will have us there, man. I would love to see him grow up and uh, just continue to develop those
Yeah.
great skills that he has, man. So,
That's it.
well, Beau, I appreciate your time, man, and
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I really do.
oh man, it is my pleasure, and look forward to. I appreciate you not only coming on, but for being a great teacher and a good friend, man. I appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing you. I guess next Tuesday.
Yep. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, bro. I will talk to
All
you
right.
soon.
Yes, sir.
Take care. Bye bye. We have come to the end of a phenomenal franchise. The Minnesota Twins won many World Series titles. I've been simming for years. We are now in 2040. All of our favorites, if you will, the Byron Buxtons, have retired. Um, Many of the starters that you last saw win a World Series title are either on other teams. In fact, most of them are on other teams now, if they're not retired. One of the saddest things of all is that Walker Jenkins is, believe, on the Cleveland Guardians, and he is a 75 overall. He's not even the best right fielder on his team, so he's not even starting for them. The one thing I will say, I did, it doesn't, at least I couldn't find a place where it kept track of World Series titles. It has World Series that you swept the other team, but it doesn't have just regular old World Series titles unless I just missed it. So obviously we have Beau Kemp uh, as our ace, but I signed him to like a 10-year contract or 11-year or something, and then haven't touched him since. So he's one of the few remaining guys on the team. In fact, let's show you the rotation. Beau Kemp, Adam Cortez, Ruben Caruth, who actually was a draft pick uh, of ours in 2027. He's 33 now. Charles McMillan was also a draft pick of ours. in 2028. So his career and Ruben Caruth's career uh, ended up phenomenally. Bobby Connolly was a draft pick of ours in 2026. So he did fairly well, but he's down to an 80. Uh, you guys don't recognize any of these names. Uh, Von Estrella may have been the first draft pick of the new regime, if you will. So, like when I gave up control over the draft, they drafted Von Estrella. He's 32 now, but he's still a 93. So, he's had a good career with the Twins. Uh, but if you just go down the roster, I think Orlando Francisco came in late uh, to take over for um, Jeffers, right at the very end. But and Justin Charles was also a draft pick of ours in 2028. That's when we had 2 first round picks. Justin Charles was the blind pick. We hadn't um, scouted him, but we had the 30th and the 31st pick, and we took him, I think, with the 31st pick, if I remember right. So, pretty sad, man. It is just the shell of the roster that we fell in love with. I will attempt to find, let's see, there's Walker Walker. That's not Walker Jenkins, of course. Wow, Zach Dean is still playing. That's crazy. Jim Mangles was one of our draft picks, 2025. He had some good years for us, but wow, I'm not seeing Walker Jenkins. I don't know if that means that he's about to retire. Okay, I think I went through every team. I just didn't really look at these teams. Go through just these first few. So you guys may have seen him, but I did not see Walker Jenkins. Again, there's Walker Walker. So we are in our final postseason, year 2040. Um, we face San Diego Padres in the World Series, and we win the first 2. Ruben Caruth going game 3. We win that game. Beau Kemp comes back for game 4. We lose that game. Apparently, we lost the next game. And we have won the 2040 World Series. So what a way to end an amazing series or franchise, if you will. Man, it was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you guys. Let's take a look real quick at the retired players. Brian Hayes is there. Wow. Let's look for Walker Jenkins down here. Lawrence Butler. Johan Duran retires at 44 or 43 years old. He's a 44 overall. Wow. Guys, I'm not seeing Walker Jenkins. So, and they don't change positions in this game that I know of. So, oh, there's Jake McCarthy. 43 years old, and he finally retires as a 46 overall. He did some work for us, didn't he, guys? Wow. He was a big part of those championship teams. Adley Rushman retires. So, unless I missed them, I didn't see him, and no players inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, there were a number of players inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I never saw Buxton, Walker Jenkins, Cy McClelland. So, unfortunately, winning all those World Series didn't do enough for their Hall of Fame credentials, apparently. And so I want to thank each and every one of you who joined me for this series. I don't even want to call it a rebuild because the Twins were in pretty good shape when we took over. But I feel like we made some really good moves. We had some great drafts, especially at the end, drafting just pure pitchers and loading up the system. It was nice to see, a couple of our pitchers still pitching for the Twins. But anyway, appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button. I would sure appreciate it. And the like button, of course, as well. And this is not the end. This is the end of the Minnesota Twins franchise, but we have Oregon A's franchise that will be starting momentarily. So thanks to all you guys that supported this, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and we'll see you soon. Take care.